Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, this June 13th will mark my 15-year anniversary of the first time I went on a date with myself. But I ran into some drama on my 12th anniversary. What had happened was I was working at a rather toxic place. Now, I got to put toxic with an asterisk mark after it. I was working at a tutoring center. I really loved all of my students. In fact, one of my students later on became the inspiration for another career path that I took. And there were other students who I had a close connection with. We had a few students who were talented altogether. We had a few special needs students, but you know what? Sometimes it takes one to know one. I am autistic myself, and it was all good. I can't think of a student that disappointed me at the tutoring center. Now, the management was a whole different story. My manager was religious, and so were some of his employees. In fact, I think he met some of them through his religion. And I'm atheist myself. A lot of my colleagues had family lives as well, and he vibed with that. June 13th was my anniversary. I had talked about it a couple of times. He always chuckled at the idea, never really took it seriously. Now, he happened, for whatever reason, this is in Seattle, Washington, where the school year ends a little bit later than here in Phoenix. For whatever reason, that week was really busy. Kids got finals and all that. And not only did he schedule me on the day of the anniversary, but he made it a really inconvenient schedule with gaps in between. I think there was like a 2 hour gap in between. Now, the tutoring center is in a part of town that I really have no other business being in. And seeing a schedule like that is very upsetting. Got to remember, June of 2022. You remember what gas prices were at the time, right? They were not pretty. I think in Seattle they were close to $6 a gallon. One day I had just put $75 worth of gas in the car, and I drove to the center, and he told me that he had just sent me an email canceling my work, and he was really tone deaf about that too. And so I almost wanted to die in front of the desk when I got there. And you know what? I wasn't very financially secure. If it happened today, I would straight up tell him, "Hey, did you know I just put 75?" Even show him the receipt if I had it. I didn't have the backbone to do that at the time, the financial backbone nor the emotional backbone, and I accumulated a lot of frustration from that. And so he was tone deaf, though, a lot of times. When he scheduled me for he knew it was my anniversary. As silly as it sounds, at least he knew it was the existence of the anniversary, and he was very tone deaf about it. My guess is that he was also very stressed out. He's got students who need it. But you know what? Had he talked it over with me, guess what? I still would have showed up. And it could have been, let's work together, rather than him being sneaky about it and him taking advantage of my situation. I went there. I wanted to take, I'm very vengeful. I wanted retribution for that. I went onto his social media to see if I could find out if he had a birthday, an anniversary. I even tried to talk to, hey, yesterday we had some really good students, but it was my anniversary. But you know what? The students are important too. Do you have a wedding anniversary? I was hoping he would divulge the day of it so that I would have retribution. He didn't talk about it. He said it had been a long time ago. He doesn't really think about it anymore. He said something to that effect. I never found out his birthday either. He hid the information really well. Instead, I knew he was Muslim. And so I looked up any important days of the Muslim calendar. The Muslim New Year happened to be in July that year. It was 2022. So the night before the New Year, I called him and I hung my head on the edge of my bed to distort my voice. And I told him I had COVID-19. And he said he wished me well, but in the back of I could hear the background. He was so frustrated by the situation. And I had to bite my lips to keep from laughing. And after I hung up the phone, I felt good about taking the retribution, but then I felt guilty. The students have to put up with all of this adult drama that they have nothing to do with, right? Oh man, so I was upset working on my anniversary. Now they have to deal with my boss who's upset about having to work on his holiday, and it's just sad that we can't work together. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.